One of the most essential steps in letting go of negative emotions is learning to acknowledge and accept them. It may sound simple, but for many of us, this is the part we resist the most. We often push away our negative emotions, anger, sadness, fear, jealousy, because they're uncomfortable. We may feel ashamed of them, judge ourselves for feeling them, or pretend everything is fine when it's not. But what we resist tends to persist. Acknowledgement means giving yourself permission to feel what you're feeling without denial or minimization. It's saying, yes, I'm angry, or yes, I feel hurt, without immediately trying to fix it, justify it, or brush it under the rug. This doesn't mean wallowing in the emotion or letting it dictate your actions. It simply means recognizing it without shame. Many of us have been taught that emotions like sadness or anger are weaknesses, but the truth is, emotions are information. They tell us something about our inner world, our values, our boundaries, and our unmet needs. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It just pushes them deeper into our subconscious, where they often grow stronger and more destructive over time. Acceptance, then, is the second and equally important part of this process. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It doesn't mean you like the emotion or that you want to stay stuck in it. It simply means you stop fighting reality. You stop saying, I shouldn't feel this way, and instead say, this is how I feel right now, and that's okay. Emotional acceptance is an act of self-compassion. It allows you to meet yourself where you are instead of where you think you should be, and ironically, by accepting your emotions, you begin to loosen their grip. Emotions that are accepted are processed more easily. They rise, peak, and naturally fade. But emotions that are resisted can fester, intensify, and eventually come out sideways, through anxiety, depression, physical symptoms, or lashing out at others. A helpful way to practice this is through mindful observation. When a negative emotion arises, try to pause and name it. I'm feeling frustrated, or this is sadness. Notice where you feel it in your body. Is your chest tight? Is your stomach in knots? Breathe into that space and simply allow the feeling to be there, like a guest passing through. Remember, you are not your emotions, you are the space in which they occur. Emotions are like weather, temporary, shifting, and part of being alive. By acknowledging and accepting them, you give yourself the emotional resilience to move through them rather than stay stuck in them. Letting go begins not with escape, but with honesty. And that honesty starts by saying to yourself, whatever I'm feeling right now, I see it, I accept it, and I honor it as part of my journey. Once you've acknowledged and accepted your emotions, the next vital step in letting them go is to identify the root cause. Negative emotions rarely arise in isolation. They are often triggered by deeper, underlying issues that may not be immediately visible on the surface. Think of your emotions like a warning light on a car dashboard. The light isn't the real problem. It's a signal that something beneath the hood needs attention. Similarly, when you feel anger, sadness, anxiety, or guilt, those feelings are alerting you to something important. Your job is to look beneath the surface and ask, what is this really about? For example, maybe you snapped at someone over a small inconvenience. On the surface, it looks like irritation. But if you dig deeper, you might find that the real issue is feeling disrespected, overwhelmed, or unheard. Perhaps it's not just about what happened in that moment, but about a pattern of experiences, feeling taken for granted at work, or carrying the emotional labor in your relationships. Once you see the pattern, you can begin to address the real cause, not just the symptoms. Uncovering the root cause requires self-reflection and honesty. Ask yourself questions like, what triggered this emotion? Have I felt this way before? When? What beliefs or expectations are tied to this feeling? Is this reaction proportional to the situation, or is it tapping into something deeper? Sometimes the root cause isn't just one event, but a core belief you've internalized. You might feel insecure because deep down you believe you're not good enough. You might feel anger because you believe people always take advantage of you. These beliefs are often shaped by past experiences, especially from childhood, trauma, or unresolved wounds. Until they're brought to the surface, they can control your emotional responses without your awareness. It's also important to separate facts from interpretations. Someone canceling plans might trigger a feeling of rejection, but is the cancellation really about you, or are you interpreting it through the lens of past abandonment? Recognizing the difference can prevent unnecessary emotional suffering. Journaling, talking to a therapist, or even having honest conversations with yourself can help uncover these deeper truths. The process may be uncomfortable, but it's incredibly empowering. Because when you understand the real reason behind your emotions, you regain control. You stop reacting blindly and start responding with intention. Identifying the root cause doesn't always offer instant relief, but it provides clarity. And clarity is the foundation for healing. Once you know what you're really dealing with, you can take steps to meet the unmet need, challenge the belief, or change the situation that's fueling the emotion. Remember, letting go is not about suppressing or ignoring. It's about facing what hurts with courage and curiosity. By identifying the root cause, you free yourself from emotional confusion and lay the groundwork for lasting inner peace. Our emotions don't arise solely from events. They often come from how we interpret those events. The way we think directly shapes how we feel. That's why one of the most powerful tools for letting go of negative emotions is learning to challenge and reframe your thoughts. Our brains are meaning-making machines. When something happens, we instantly assign meaning to it. If someone ignores our message, we might think, they don't care about me. If we make a mistake at work, we might tell ourselves, I'm a failure. These thoughts aren't necessarily true, but they feel true and they can trigger intense emotional responses. This is where cognitive distortions come in. These are habitual, exaggerated, and often irrational thought patterns that fuel negative emotion. Examples include all or nothing thinking, if I'm not perfect, I'm a total failure. Catastrophizing, if I make a mistake, everything will fall apart. Mind reading, they haven't replied, they must be mad at me. Labeling, I'm so stupid, instead of I made a mistake. When you learn to challenge these thoughts, you interrupt the cycle. Instead of automatically accepting your inner dialogue as truth, pause and ask, is this thought 100% true? What evidence supports or contradicts it? Is there another way to view this situation? What would I say to a friend who thought this? This process is often called cognitive restructuring, and it's a cornerstone of emotional resilience. When you question your thoughts with curiosity rather than judgment, you begin to see that many of them are just stories, not facts, and once you recognize a story, you have the power to rewrite it. Reframing is about finding a healthier, more balanced way to look at the situation. It's not about toxic positivity or pretending everything is okay. It's about shifting perspective to reduce emotional suffering and promote growth. For instance, instead of I failed, you might reframe it as I learned something valuable. Instead of they're ignoring me, try maybe they're busy or going through something I don't know about. Instead of this always happens to me, reframe it as this happened and I have the strength to handle it. The way you talk to yourself matters. It shapes your emotional landscape. If your inner dialogue is harsh, critical, and fear-based, your emotions will mirror that. But if you learn to speak to yourself with kindness, logic, and compassion, you'll create an inner environment where peace can take root. Letting go of negative emotions starts in the mind. By identifying unhelpful thoughts, challenging them, and reframing them in a healthier light, you begin to loosen the emotional grip they have on you. You shift from being controlled by your thoughts to consciously choosing them, and that, right there, is emotional freedom. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood and most transformative tools for letting go of negative emotions. Many people resist the idea of forgiveness because they think it means excusing bad behavior, condoning harm, or pretending that nothing happened. But forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about you, your peace, your healing, your ability to move forward. When we hold on to anger, resentment, or bitterness, we are carrying emotional burdens that slowly eat away at our mental and even physical well-being. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Whether the person who hurt you ever apologizes, admits their wrongdoing, or even understands the pain they caused, you still have the power and the right to release yourself from that pain. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's one of the strongest choices you can make. It says, I will not allow this pain to define me or control me any longer. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're choosing freedom over bondage, peace over punishment, and healing over hate. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to reconcile with them, trust them again, or even keep them in your life. In some cases, it's healthier to love people from a distance. Forgiveness is an internal process, a shift in how you relate to your own thoughts and feelings about the situation. You stop replaying the hurt, stop fueling the pain, and start releasing your grip on the past. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You may be carrying guilt, shame, or regret for things you've done or failed to do. But beating yourself up endlessly doesn't make you better, it just keeps you stuck. True growth comes when you acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and give yourself permission to move forward with compassion. Practicing forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful, but always worthwhile. Here are a few steps that can help. Acknowledge the hurt. Be honest about how you were affected. Understand the impact. Reflect on how holding onto this pain has shaped your thoughts and emotions. Make the choice. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It's a decision to let go, even if your heart isn't fully there yet. Release the expectation. Let go of the need for apology, justice, or closure from the other person. Redirect your focus. Channel your energy into your own healing, growth, and future. You can also use journaling, meditation, or even symbolic acts, like writing a letter you don't send, to release pent-up emotions. Some find peace through spiritual or faith-based practices. Whatever your path, let it lead you toward lightness and self-liberation. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It's not forgetting the wound, it's choosing not to let the wound control your life. And in that choice lies your deepest healing emotions, especially negative ones, are powerful energy. When that energy isn't acknowledged or expressed in a healthy way, it doesn't disappear, it builds up. Over time, this emotional buildup can manifest as anxiety, depression, physical tension, or even outbursts of anger or emotional shutdown. That's why one of the most effective ways to process and release negative emotions is to channel them into healthy outlets. A healthy outlet is any activity that allows you to express, move through, or transform your emotions without causing harm to yourself or others. These outlets create space for emotional release, clarity, and healing. One of the most accessible and immediate outlets is physical movement. Emotions live in the body, stress tightens your muscles, fear affects your breathing, sadness weighs down your posture. Physical activities like walking, running, dancing, yoga, or even hitting a punching bag can help release emotional tension. Movement triggers the release of endorphins and helps regulate your nervous system. You don't need to be an athlete to benefit. Just move in a way that feels good and connected to your body. Another powerful outlet is creative expression. Art, music, writing, and other forms of creativity give you a voice when words fail. You don't need to be a skilled artist or writer. Just give yourself permission to express what's inside. Journaling, in particular, is a therapeutic way to process emotions. When you write freely without censoring yourself, you create space for emotional clarity and self-awareness. Try asking yourself, what am I really feeling? What triggered it? What do I need right now? Talking it out is another healthy and essential outlet. Sharing your feelings with someone you trust, a friend, family member, or therapist, can be incredibly relieving. Sometimes, just being heard and validated is enough to lessen the emotional load. If you don't have someone to talk to, even recording a voice memo or speaking your thoughts aloud in a safe space can help externalize and process what you're going through. Mind, Body practices like meditation, deep breathing, and mindfulness also serve as powerful emotional outlets. These practices help you slow down, tune into your inner world, and create a calm, safe space where emotions can be observed without judgment. Instead of being overwhelmed by your feelings, you begin to witness them with greater compassion and detachment. Spiritual practices, volunteering, spending time in nature, or engaging in meaningful hobbies can also serve as healthy emotional outlets. The key is to find what resonates with you and feels restorative, not numbing or escapist. It's important to recognize the difference between healthy coping and avoidance. Activities like excessive screen time, emotional eating, substance use, or overworking might provide temporary relief, but often suppress rather than process emotions. True emotional release happens when you lean in, not escape. Using healthy outlets is not about avoiding your emotions. It's about processing them safely and productively. When you give your emotions a place to go, you prevent them from taking control. And with each release, you create more space inside yourself. For peace, clarity, and joy, letting go of negative emotions often means confronting something we don't always realize we're doing, reliving the past. Whether it's a painful memory, a regret, a betrayal, or a personal failure, we often stay emotionally anchored in events that have already happened. Our minds replay what was said, what should have happened, or how things could have gone differently over and over again. But while the past cannot be changed, our relationship with it can. Choosing presence over past is about shifting your emotional and mental focus from what has already occurred to what is real right now. It's the conscious decision to stop feeding old wounds and instead root yourself in the only moment that truly exists, the present. When we dwell in the past, we are often reacting to memories, not current realities. The brain doesn't always distinguish between a memory and a real-time event. That's why just thinking about a hurtful moment from years ago can stir up the same feelings of anger, sadness, or anxiety. Without realizing it, we re-trigger the same emotional pain, keeping ourselves stuck in a loop. Presence offers an alternative. In the present moment, there is no story, only awareness. You are not your past, not your pain, not the mistakes you made or the things that happened to you. You are here now, and in this space, you have the power to respond with clarity rather than react from old wounds. So how do you begin to choose presence? Start by practicing mindfulness, the simple act of paying attention to your current experience without judgment. This can be as simple as noticing your breath, the sounds around you, or the way your body feels in this moment. Every time your mind wanders to the past, gently bring it back to now. This is not about erasing the past, but about not living in it. Another key is to let go of the need for closure or perfection. Sometimes we stay stuck in the past because we didn't get the apology we wanted, or because we wish we had handled things differently. Acceptance doesn't mean agreeing with what happened. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and releasing the grip it has on your heart. You can also ground yourself in the present by focusing on what you can control. You can't rewrite yesterday, but you can choose how you show up today. You can decide how you respond, how you think, how you speak, and what energy you bring into your life. Ultimately, choosing presence over past is a daily practice. It requires patience, self-compassion, and gentle persistence. But with each moment you return to the now, you take a step toward emotional liberation. You stop being a prisoner of what was and become the author of what is. The present is where healing happens, it's where peace begins, and it's where your future is born, not from pain, but from presence.